What's going on, guys? New FAQ today for X-Wing version 4.30 and a lot of changes today, a lot of nerfs. I'm going to talk specifically about the nerfs. A whole lot of stuff. This goes into effect the 17th of March, so we have about 2 weeks or so until it kicks in. But it's going to be pretty nasty if you are a meta player or if you're using any of this stuff that was nerfed. It talks about some certain simultaneous effects that happen, and also kind of clarifies some things for I'll show you the dark side, some things we assumed, some things we didn't see coming. And I'm going to put a link to the FAQ in the description below, so be sure and check it out because there's a lot of little stuff. But the big four I'm going to talk about are these big four nerfs. And these are hardcore errata nerfs. I hate this kind of change because it changes a printed card. And this also means that we're going to need new copies of this card because new players who come into the game and buy one of these expansions are going to be really disappointed. Specifically, Emperor Palpatine. So let's take a look at the new Emperor Palpatine. Basically, this is nerfed into oblivion as far as I'm concerned. I will admit that Palpatine was very, very powerful before, but rightly so. He's the most expensive crew in the game. He costs 8 points and uses up 2 crew slots. So he has a steep cost already, a very, very steep cost. Now his ability used to let you just pick any die and change it to any other result, and you could decide that after. So now basically you have to, before you even roll your dice, you have to say, all right, I'm going to use Palpatine on this roll, and you declare a result. And it doesn't say it has to be a legal result, but obviously it has to be a legal result. So you can't be attacking and say, I'm going to pick and evade. All right, that's silly though, but I'm sure somebody's probably going to be like, well, what if I wanted to do that? Anyway, you have to pick your results. So if you're attacking, you're probably going to choose a crit. There's very few chances you would choose something else. And then if you're defending, you're probably going to choose an evade. Very few reasons you would do anything else. And so then you roll your die. And it doesn't have to be attack or defense. It can be an asteroid or whatever. But anytime you're about to roll dice or a friendly ship is about to roll dice, you say, all right, I'm going to use Palpatine. You select one result, and you have to change one die to that result if it's not at that result. And then it can't be modified further. But it really stinks because you have to say beforehand. And the idea, the theme that they're going for with all of these changes is the risk versus reward. They wanted there to be more risk, and they thought certain things were undercosted. But in this case, this is the one that bothers me the most because Palpatine's one of my favorite cards in the game because I love the option of choice in this game, and he kind of takes the choice away. He takes a lot of the choice and the flexibility away. So he's no longer flexible. You have to predict what you're going to do first. And now it seems the best way to use Palpatine is defending an ace, because those are the most likely chances that you're not going to get the evade that you need. So if you have an evase or an ace who's evading, who has an evade token, then that's the time you would want to say, I'm Palpatining for an evade, and then and then you're going to roll 3 evades and it's going to be a complete waste. And that's it. It's still only once per turn. That bothers the heck out of me. But it is what it is. And it also bothers me that somebody is going to buy, a Raider just to get Palpatine, and then find out afterwards that what's written on the card on that it no longer takes effect. So that's a real bummer for me, and for probably a lot of new people who buy this Raider not knowing. Next up, also for the Empire, the X7 Defender title. Now, this one is not as bad, and it makes a little bit of sense. Basically, there's 2 parts to this change. First off, you only get it if it's a clean maneuver. So if you overlap something or you bump a ship, you're not getting it. And then the second thing is your evade is now a free action rather than just a evade token. So if by chance you are stressed, you're not going to be able to get that evade anymore. Maybe it's because I don't play defenders as much. I still play them once in a while. But this doesn't bother me as much. I mean, it's already a negative point cost title. I mean, granted, it was balancing a ship that was kind of overcosted at a certain point. So I get that. But it's not like you're paying 8 points for an upgrade that now does much, much less. So the X7 Defender title, you can still function the same way. You just have to fly better. So it's going to emphasize pilot skill, actual player skill a little bit more. I get that. Also, if you were to bump before and you did a 3, but you didn't move anywhere, and you would still get your evade token. So I guess it's eliminating some of the cheese from that. And to be fair, if you're not a Palpatine lover like me, you would probably think that Palpatine was cheesy too. And while I personally love Palpatine, I have to concede that yeah, he was a little overpowered, or at least a little highly powered. I mean, he certainly costed appropriately. But all right, now we're gonna go to Scum. Scum is getting some changes. Manaru, like one of the most popular pilots in the game right now for meta. Everybody's flying something with Manaru. So Manaru is big changes that she's got to be at range 1 of whoever she's passing her stuff to. That's huge because everybody would fly Dingaroo, right? Like Dengar over here, Manaru over here, or Manaru. There's lots of different Manaru builds, but they would basically keep Manaru like off to the side while the fighting's going on over here, and you know, it's a huge change. It's a huge change, and it is going to now require that people fly Manaru close. I think this would have been better if it was like range 1 to 2, you know, because range 1 is a little hard for, you know, especially for large ships that aren't the easiest things to maneuver. It may be tricky to be able to maintain that range 1. And maybe that's what they're looking for. You know, they want to emphasize, you know, you making good choices and flying better. I don't really fly Manaru. I don't really fly Jump Masters at all. I personally, that's because I think they're you know, for a long time they were used so much. I just didn't really want to fly them because everybody was flying them. That's me. That's just my personality. So maybe I'm a little biased against this. This doesn't bother me as much because I never used any of the Manaru lists that are out there. I flew against them a heck of a lot, but I never was. I'm not a meta player. I don't like to play what's at the top of the meta. I like to play something that you don't see in the meta and then surprise people if I happen to win. So that's what my personal thing. So some of these, the only exception to this really is Palpatine. I like to use him a lot because he fits into 100% of lists, you know, provided you can get the 2 crew on there. Next up for Scum is Zuckuss. Now, Zuckuss, I will absolutely concede, was overpowered because he only costs 1. If he cost like 8 like Palpatine, I could see him as being worth it because, you know, he was something you could use multiple times over and over again. Boom, 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 especially if you had him on Dengar. But really, he works anywhere, but especially if you had him on Dengar and you were attacking twice a turn, you know, he's great. And, you know, so basically Zuckuss's change is you can only use the ability if you aren't stressed. And so, you know, it's like, if you're just going to force a single reroll each turn, then you're probably going to be okay. But if you're going up against a TIE Interceptor and they roll 3 evades and you want to make them reroll all 3, it's going to net you 3 stress tokens, and you're probably not using Zuckuss again for a little while. And that's, you know, that's what they wanted. And at least in this case, I think it's a balanced change for the cost of the card because he's only 1. And you know, I can understand if you really like Zuckuss, as I do like Zuckuss. I like Zuckuss a lot. I think he's a great crew. But I can understand this change. This is the one I understand most of all. Because from the very, very beginning, I thought he was insane. And sure enough, you know, he's proved to be insane. And I wonder how much of these changes are a response to the Scum huge ship that's coming out, the Sea Rock. At first, I thought Zuckuss might have been, but when I saw that he was being one of the nerfed characters, but then I saw that, well, you know, a huge ship isn't going to be stressed anyway. So this particular nerf doesn't seem like it's going to have anything to do with huge ships. But if they end up coming up with a Corvette that's for Scum at some point and that uses a lot of different weapons, Zuckuss will be really, really strong on that. So, you know, maybe that just means they're not going to do another Corvette. Who knows? So my question for you guys is, what kind of impact do you think this is going to have to your games? How many of these cards are you using? How many of these cards are you facing in your local play? And are you glad that some of these are being changed? Are you annoyed that some of these are being changed? And have you read the FAQ, or how do you feel about everything else that's been clarified? I'm actually personally glad to see that I'll show you the dark side is clarified, that it works even if you have shields. But nerfs, I don't like hardcore errata nerfs, guys, because now it's changed, and now the card that I have doesn't represent what the card actually does, and that's annoying. Especially if there's a new player and they're like, "But it says right here," and I'm like, "No, you have to go on the internet and see what it's supposed to say now." That's annoying. Hopefully they get all 4 of these as, you know, promos that are just dumped out on the player base over the next year, because otherwise it's going to be really annoying. Well, that is the FAQ. This goes live March 17th, and make sure you read it, and, you know, let me know what you think, guys. As always, thank you so much for watching, and check out my Facebook page. I've been giving away Star Wars game codes on Steam. I'm doing that all month because I'm approaching 5,000 subscribers, and we're going to be doing some giveaways once I hit the big 5K. But all this month, in preparation for Star Wars Celebration, I am giving out Steam codes on my Facebook page. So check me out on Facebook. I'm Crabbok. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and I appreciate all the comments and the thumbs up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day.